Air pollution is essentially the build-up of gases and particulates which can harm human health or even damage the environment.
That pollution gets into our lungs and has an effect on our health. It limits the ability of young children to develop their lungs, and so they have limited lung capacity. It affects older people with links to heart disease, stroke, and even dementia.
But I've never experienced such a traumatic experience with my asthma ever. I actually couldn't breathe, so I just didn't know what was going to happen.
This is a public health crisis, and we can do something about it.
This is Bermondsey. There's the Thames there. I've lived in this area 22 years now. There's a very tight-knit community here. Many of these people moved in round about the same time. So I'm very lucky to live here. There's some amazing views of the river, but then the super sewer came and blighted our lives. It will be running for 24 hours, 7 days a week for 2 years. We'll have very little respite during that period of time where they're doing that work. We've had traffic pollution. During a pour of concrete, they anticipate 200 concrete lorries arriving over 36 hours. And that process has also created a huge amount of concrete dust floating around. Now, did you want to hold that one? No. So there's been a rise in anxiety, there's been a rise in asthma. 2 people were taken away in ambulances from this very square. A lot of people have complained of sore throats and breathing problems generally, especially children.
When I could get a bit of air in, I could just taste, it was just like so humid. Just didn't know what was going to happen. And all I could focus was on my breathing, but I was gasping for air. You're a bit late.
There is constantly lorries coming in and out, all through school times. Like, even they told us it wouldn't happen through like school pickups, school drop-offs, but it's constant. Like, even through the night as well, there's trucks coming in and out. So obviously that's just going to have more of an effect on all of our kids and us.
There are lots of statistics about the number of deaths that air pollution contributes to, but the reality is that when we have these severe air pollution incidents, it actually can cause real deaths, especially for people who've already got pre-existing vulnerabilities. If they've got a health condition, there are children dying of severe asthma attacks. And so hidden amongst the statistics are real life tragedies, and this is why it's such an important issue to get a grip and tackle. So Environmental Defence Fund Europe has teamed together with a number of different organisations, including Google and Cambridge University, to try and measure and monitor the air pollution in London in unprecedented detail. We're using static monitors that are fixed in place for a year, and they can track a number of different pollutants, and they can be installed in situ, so they can be put on office blocks. We've got one here at London Bridge. There's 100 of these now dotted around the city. We're also using Google cars with state-of-the-art technology measuring pollution as they go. What it can do is pinpoint particular spots around the city that are experiencing regularly poor air. And from that we can start to really ask important questions about what's causing this and how can we tackle it.
As you can hear, the lovely noises of birds chirping are deafened out by people hooting. But to be honest, if you came back here at 11 a.m, it wouldn't be so bad at all. But look at that. Big truck, big delivery truck should not be allowed to travel through here. My kids go to one of the schools that has got 2 buildings 1 mile apart. There is a terrible spike in traffic between 8 and 9 in the morning and at 3 and 4 in the afternoon. It's an absolute well-known fact that pollution is a lot worse for children. Their organs are developing. Noxious elements that we all breathe actually lodge inside their organs and stay there for life. Their height is terrible because they are only a handful of centimeters away from the exhausts of cars and vans and trucks.
The government's clean air strategy doesn't really tackle the big problem, which is transport. Transport is one of the key drivers of air pollution in this country because so many of us are dependent on cars. Transport is a good thing for us. Not only does it get us from home to work, but it also gets us out to leisure. So we don't want to stop people from doing that, but we can do it cleanly and more healthily for everybody, and that's what we need to do. The Ultra Low Emission Zone is being introduced in London, and at the moment it's going to be the same size as the congestion zone. And in a couple of years' time, inside the South Circular and the North Circular.
But now we've got leadership. We've got leadership at a national level, we've got leadership at city level in London, and if we can take that leadership and turn it into real policies and real laws that can get to the heart of this problem, then we need to do it now. It's become increasingly urgent. The tools are getting better every day and we need to apply them and then make this happen.
This is a public health crisis. When people talk about the costs, think about the fact that £20 billion a year is spent on the consequences of air pollution, not only in the NHS, but in lost days at work and so forth. This is a really, really big thing that we have to tackle, and saying that it's too difficult or too expensive is actually a dereliction of duty.